Hi, this is Erica with Crafts Direct, and I want to share with you these fun projects I made. I am not a natural painter at all, by any means, but I had so much fun creating these two feather paintings. For this one, all you need is the color pour starter set and a piece of string. And for this one, I just grabbed an extra canvas and some black acrylic paint and then reused stuff from that starter set. So I want to show you how easy it was and fun to make these.
Before we get messy with paint, we are going to pre-cut out some pieces. We're going to start with our paper towels. Mine is tripled over, and we are going to create rectangles, and then on one side of the rectangle we're going to create a zigzag pattern. They're going to end up looking a little bit like monster feet. So we're going to cut those out, and those are going to help us later when we make our feathers. Once we've got them all cut out, we're going to separate them and stack them into a pile so they're easy to grab later. Then we're going to grab our yarn and cut a 12-inch piece. Next, we're going to unbox that fun paint pouring starter kit. It comes with the cups, the pre-mixed paints, it's got popsicle sticks in it, it includes a canvas, gloves, and a mat, which you're definitely going to want to put out that plastic mat because this is going to get messy. Then we're going to take our canvas and we're going to prop it up. You can use any items to prop it up a little bit, we just want the paint to be able to flow over the edges. Then we're going to get our paint ready. We are going to shake a little bit and pour each color into a different cup. The paints are pre-mixed with some of that Cell Magic, which creates all those fun bubbles, but we are going to add a little bit extra to the turquoise color and the white. We're going to add a couple drops into the turquoise and the white, and then we are going to take a popsicle stick and stir each of those just to make sure to get it all mixed in thoroughly. Now we finally get to start adding some paint to the canvas. So we are going to take the black paint, pour it directly from the bottle onto the canvas, and then smooth it out. Our goal here is to cover the entire surface of the canvas as well as the sides with black paint. I grabbed my paint knife. I could have also used a popsicle stick, but I'm just using it to help smooth out the paint. This paint is very fluid, so I could have just poured the paint on the canvas and then picked it up and tilted the board, but I'm a little bit too impatient, so I wanted to speed up the process, so I helped it along a little bit with the tools I had. Continue adding black paint until you feel like your canvas is completely covered in black and is covered pretty evenly. This is the only time that we're going to be using this black paint, so if you end up using the entire bottle, that's okay. I ended up using about 3/4 of my bottle. Here you can see me adding my last little bit of black paint to the board and using the tilting technique to let the paint run fluid. Now that we've got the board all ready to go with the background, we finally get to start adding some color to the board. We are going to take the white paint and we are going to make an arc so it kind of defines the shape of the feather for us. I'm going to pour the white right out of my cup onto the surface. We'll start at the bottom and then make our arc up towards the top and kind of loop it around once we get to the top. Then we're going to go in with the gold paint, leaving about 1 inch of the bottom left without any gold on top of it, and just add gold along the center of the white. And just follow it all the way along the top and curve it around as well. Then we'll go in with that turquoise color and go right over where we did the gold, using the same technique as applying the gold paint. And then we're going to repeat that same process with that dark blue paint. Now that we've got all the paint on the canvas, we are going to take those pre-cut little monster feet we made out of paper towels and use them to create the feather-like strokes. You are going to take the paper towels and use that jagged part we cut to create the strokes. You'll start in the middle and make arches one way towards the right, from the middle to the right, and then you'll also make arches from the middle to the left. So that is what is going to create the feather design. You'll continue to switch out the paper towels, use different edges of the paper towels to get different looks until you get the design that you're hoping for. Then we'll take our heat gun out, apply heat to the top of the feather, and when we apply the heat, this is when a lot of those magic cells are going to appear. So you're going to see all kinds of fun different designs showing up as you apply the heat. You don't need to apply a lot of heat, just go over it until you don't notice any of those little cells coming to the surface anymore. Now we're just going through and really perfecting that feather, adding more paint, more heat, redefining those feather-like strokes, and perfecting it how you want. Then we are going to take our piece of yarn, dip it in a little bit of white paint, and we are going to run it through the center of the feather. We're trying to create that defining feather vein. Then I continue to play around with my feather, really defining, adding different colors, adding more texture, adding a little bit more heat, hoping to get some more of those magic cells popping out. And then I just wasn't really happy with the definition of that center vein, so I dipped more yarn in white paint and laid it down the center of the feather and really got the look that I was going for. Once you've got your feather the way that you really like it, you are going to let it dry overnight to make sure it is completely dried before you hang it up in your house and enjoy looking at it every day. Well, after finishing my first feather paint pour, I thought, I want to do it again. And since I was out of the Color Pour Black pre-mixed paint, I tried it with just a regular acrylic black background. So I took my black acrylic paint, I painted the entire surface and all four sides. I did leave it a pretty thick painting. Once I got it all coated, I went through with my bristle brush and just kind of evened it out. I thought maybe having it a little bit thicker would make it pour nicer. So I'm going to show you just a really quick version of recreating this feather painting, doing it exactly the same as I did it the previous time. So I'm just adding my different layers of paint, getting them all on there. I can already notice if you look down, if you look down at that white feather part that's left sticking out, you can tell that it's turning a little bit grayish just between the way that the white color pour paint is reacting with the acrylic black paint. But I think it's still gonna work. We're gonna really speed things up now because you guys have already seen me and heard me talk through the techniques that I'm using, so I'm just gonna talk about the differences that I noticed. One of the biggest differences is that the paint wasn't as fluid seeming on this background surface, which I kind of liked. So I had a little bit more control of where and how much the paint was flowing. But everything else pretty much worked the same, except for those darn gold splatters that I made, so here I am trying to fix those. In the final products, the feathers looked very similar. The biggest difference was the background. The background with the paint pour medium ended up being glossier, and the background with the acrylic paint was more of a matte finish.
You can find all the supplies to make this project at craftsdirect.com and just go over to the Projects tab.